morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Here we are once again in beautiful Las Vegas,
That's right.
home of
The sun.
and
the heat.
everything, and the famous Las Vegas Strip. I got a joke for you.
That's right.
What do you get when you cross two good-looking guys with a podcast? Walnut Street Hospitality Group. That's what you get. Who closed last night?
There we go.
All right.
My morning.
So my name is Stan.
And I'm Zach.
And we do this podcast called Who Closed Last Night. It's brought to you by
Walnut Street Hospitality Group.
And one of the things that we do is try to keep you from stumbling into the wall with your face. If we've already stumbled into that wall, let us take your bruises for you. And we try to pass on some of our knowledge, wisdom, if you can call it that, or experiences.
That's right. We promote entrepreneurship, leadership, and everything that goes along with it. It's not always the easiest path, but it's a fun journey for the right person.
It is a fun journey. It can be a stressful journey. But
That's true.
Walnut Street Hospitality owns some restaurants, some management companies. And I think one of the things that we are going to ask of you is to help us become a follower, a viewer. And how do they do that?
That's right. We are going to ask you for some help. It's going to be very quick, easy, cost you nothing. Follow, like, and share us on Instagram at whoclosedlastnight_. That'll be the same on TikTok at whoclosedlastnight_. You can find us on Facebook at whoclosedlastnight. We are on YouTube, so everybody can listen. If you're driving, don't watch us. Watch us if you're at work. I'm just playing, kind of. But you can watch us on YouTube at Who Closed Last Night Podcast. You can listen to us on Spotify, and most of all, you can send us your funny, surprising, scary, whatever story you got to share with us at whoclosedlastnightpod, P-O-D, at gmail.com, and we'd love to share that with our audience.
And if you want to be a guest on here, reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you in all manners and for lots of different reasons. Just reach out.
Teach us something,
Teach
please.
us something. So today we're going to talk about anticipating needs. And when we came up with this podcast, it was first about thinking about customer or guest needs. And I think really it's about just anticipating people's needs that are within your circle of or your sphere of influence. You know, people that might work with you, might work for you, people that come in as customers, as guests. How do you anticipate their needs to help fulfill their happiness or their satisfaction? We'll say that. And so let me give you an example.
That's a cool perspective, first of all.
I think about this because, well, I'll give you the customer example, then I'm going to give you kind of like an internal example. But I think about when you order coffee at a restaurant, right? And this is such a simple thing, but it's almost, the art of it is almost lost. So in the old days, 4 years ago, you used to order a cup of coffee. They would bring you a cup of coffee, and they would bring you creamer, and they would bring you sugar or sweetener, whatever it is, you know, a little caddy.
Coffee caddy?
Yep. And of course, that's all dependent upon what kind of place you're in.
Right.
But you never had to ask for it, right? If they didn't have it hidden in their apron or their jacket pocket or something like that, if it was that kind of place, but they never had to leave the table to go get it while you sat there and watched your coffee cool. Right?
There was service to it.
There was service to it. They anticipated that probably 50% of the people were not going to drink their coffee black.
Right.
And so they brought everything with them to be prepared. Can you think of, being in the restaurant business, can you think of some other things like that, I don't know, that could be avoided if people anticipated needs?
Of course, but first I'd like to say that, we really love the state of Hawaii and its people, and I've learned something over the last 10 years in Hawaii. And the older local Japanese lady taught me this, actually. And it's a term, and I'm going to say this wrong, but I'm going to try really hard. It's called kikubari, and it's to anticipate your guest needs. And it's a level of service that is an art, right? And I agree with you that it has been lost, right? I think it's like you sit people down at a table in a restaurant. Why wouldn't you give them a menu? Right? That's why they're there. I think depending on state laws, conservation of water, but it's like pouring a glass of water, right? I look at those things as, what would I want to do if I was entertaining people and they were a guest in my home? How do you take care of them? You're the host.
Yes.
You anticipate their need. Hey, sit down right here. Let me pour you a spirit. Would you like some wine? Hey, you bring in some poo-poos or, some chips and dip or something, right? You take care of them. You make them feel special and a guest in your home.
So I think that's a great example, because whenever we have a banquet or something within our facilities, I always try to walk through what's going to happen. So someone comes in the front door. My question to the staff is, who's going to greet them? And that's part of anticipating a need, or, being Johnny on the spot before people have to come in and ask, oh, where's our event?
Would you say it's the difference between good service and exceptional service?
I would say that. Absolutely.
I could see you saying that.
But we're all about trying to be exceptional, right? As we all should be. But I think that it's as simple as that. Then
the best experience for our guest.
I think about what I would want.
Yeah.
Right. So if I walk into a restaurant or a banquet facility and there's no one there, I'm going to be asking myself, where do I go? Is it the whole place? Is it a room? Is it,
Am I here too early?
Am I here too early because no one else is here? And then I think about, okay, what's next? So I get to, once the food is out, and this happens so much anymore, it's even hard to fathom it. So the food is out, and you go get a plate, and there's nothing to serve the food with, right?
Man.
But that's anticipating a need, right? Oh yeah, the question probably was asked, did the food get put out?
Yep.
And someone answered, yes.
Did the utensils go in? Are there napkins at the end of it?
That's exactly right.
What are we going to do to clear the tables? And these are all things I've learned with working with you, but it is all about anticipating the next step, the next series of steps.
The next series of steps. And I think
Act 1, Act 2, Act 3.
Until they're walking out the door, what are they going to be asking for when they walk out the door? How can you help them not have to ask for anything?
Or the best thing to ask, how can I make a reservation?
That is absolutely a wonderful question. Yes. So we're talking about this, and we're talking about it from a restaurant perspective, but then I think about, let's talk about retail.
Yeah.
Right? So you go into a place and you buy something that requires batteries. And a lot of people think everything they need is in that box. And then they get home and they say, we should have bought batteries.
Oh, no.
Now we got to go back out and buy batteries. And I think what we forget is that through our ability to anticipate also comes the ability to sell more.
Okay.
And so I think we forget that, right? So the person that sold them that box of something that required batteries could have sold another $7 more with some batteries.
That's right. And it could have been all inclusive.
It could have been all inclusive. And I think those are the things that that we're missing, that we used to have, that we don't have anymore, is we're not always anticipating the needs of others.
How do you think that deteriorated?
Well, I could be like, if I was in the mood for a bunch of hate emails coming through, I would say, I think it's something that's not taught anymore. And even if it's something that is taught, it's not listened to because people maybe don't have that kind of you buy shit online, right? There's no one there to anticipate what your need is. Although with technology, it's very possible that you could have that, right? You could have a pop-up that says, "Do you need batteries for that?"
Yeah.
But I think that in general, when you're talking about the people business, we don't think that way anymore. It's not a common thought.
We're so used to interacting with a website or something where it's so convenient and it's so on me, the user, I'm doing the shopping myself and the checking out
That's
and
right.
filling out my address, right, and getting the package. There is no service in that. It's convenience.
It's convenience, but unfortunately, when you take that convenience into a public where you have to deal with people,
Yeah.
you've lost it. And I think it's as simple as this. When people say thank you, it used to be an automatic to get "you're welcome"
Right.
or "my pleasure," and now it's a look that's like, "Why are you talking to me?" Or it's a "no problem." Well, that's about as thoughtful as nothing. No problem means, oh, so if it was a problem, I would have said, oh, it was a problem.
It's a problem.
It's a problem.
That'd been weird.
But I think that's what we've come to. And I think the businesses that allow themselves to get back into anticipating needs will be the ones that continue to succeed.
So it's like people when they talk about Chick-fil-A saying "my pleasure."
Yeah.
But they're popular because of that element, that edge they have, right?
That's one of the things that makes them popular.
And people talk about it and they love it.
They love it.
And good for them for having standards.
And good for them for enforcing the standards.
That's right.
A lot of businesses have standards that you would never know because no one ever does them or enforces them. I think some of our businesses have actually, at one point or another, gotten to there, and we've had to make a change to make it better. But I think it's not something you set in place and let run. It's something that you continuously monitor and improve.
Right, right.
So now let's talk about anticipating the needs, let's say, of your staff.
Yeah.
Right? And one of the things that drives me crazy is when you have something that, it costs $150 to get it fixed, and we don't get it fixed. No one says, hey, by the way, that sealer is,
Not working.
isn't working. And it's like, well, how much would it cost to get a new one, right? Because that's probably one of those things, if you get it fixed, it probably costs more than $150 to buy it.
Right. A vacuum sealer.
A vacuum sealer, that's what I was referring to. And I think you have to anticipate the needs and the thoughts of the people that work for you or work with you, right? What is it that they need? They need equipment that works.
To do their job and get the expectation that we put forth.
Exactly.
And
then,
they can't give the expectation that they're using equipment that's faulty, and that hurts the service, and it, in result, it affects the guest.
That's exactly right. And then let's talk about people's internal needs, right? Not equipment needs or anything like that, but how many people have we felt like they're pretty good, they got to want more? What is it that they're looking for? What's one of the questions that we ask?
What do you want out of life? What do you want over the next few years? Where do you want to be?
What is it that you're looking for that would make you want to be here?
Yeah.
Right? And not just stop here,
Yes.
but be here. And I think that's how it's those questions that later let you anticipate what it is that they might be looking for so they don't go looking for it somewhere else.
Right.
I think of some of the people that we've kind of brought along into some leadership roles, and you can kind of start to feel when they feel like they've accomplished what they're doing. And in their head, they're thinking, well, what do I do next? How do I grow in this organization? And I think for us, we have to anticipate the needs of those people that we notice and talk to them before they tell us, well, I'm going to go down here because I'm going to become a supervisor, or I'm going to go here because I'm going to be a shift leader. when we have those opportunities and can anticipate their need for those opportunities, it's a win-win situation. And I think that's for everybody, right? Everybody wants their needs anticipated and addressed. And I mean, kind of think if you think about, before you came to this company, what kind of needs were addressed for you in your previous job?
Yeah, I think that I think what you said most recently would be the biggest one for me is that I think I was identified as someone that could excel at the work I was doing because I didn't always lead the warehouse. I worked at the warehouse, right? And I went up through the ranks and up through the department, but I kept receiving the opportunity to try something new, learn something new, be a part of some initiative team to highlight. I wasn't, personally, I wasn't afraid of not being part of their team, right? And playing in their safety team or their initiatives, right? I got no monetary incentive out of that, but I got to be in rooms with leaders and department heads and the vice president. And I think that allowed me to put myself in front of those people and then be able to apply for the next role and position. They were familiar with me. I'd work shoulder to shoulder with them in whatever group or study. And I think that, I was also able to tell them what I was looking for and show them my work ethic. And I think ultimately that helped me climb whatever ladder I was climbing at the time in that company. Was putting myself out there, doing a little extra work, being a part of some extracurricular, but that allowed me to get face time and talking time with leaders of the company and make a name for myself.
But they were the ones that anticipated that
Yes,
need for.
they gave me the invite.
They gave you the invite because they knew that he's going to be wanting more.
Yep.
They were anticipating your need for growth
Right.
and anticipating giving you an avenue for that growth, which made you loyal to them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It made me loyal to them. It made me feel like I was recognized. And it made me feel like if I could continue to work hard, I'd continue to be recognized. And I think that's a winning dynamic.
I absolutely agree with you. I got to go back to the restaurant thing, though.
Yeah.
So how many times have you gotten a steak?
Okay.
No steak knife.
Oh,
and
man.
so, and let's just say it's a 1.5-inch thick New York strip. And so when I don't get a steak knife, I'm always thinking, oh, if this cuts like butter, I'm going to be so happy.
Yeah. That's why they didn't give me a steak knife.
That's why they didn't give me a steak knife.
Yeah.
And I'm sawing on it with that fork.
Put some of your weight on my arm. Come on.
That's right. Or, thinking, oh, maybe I need to use a spoon and dig this bite out.
But pick it up.
Just pick it up and gnaw on it. That's what you're supposed to do. But I think what's funny is the restaurants that don't train their staff to anticipate that are always going to be in that level of average, mediocrity to average. And because by the time you get someone's attention back, right? You're talking a minute and a half of the food being on an air-conditioned table, and right. So
And everybody else at the table's enjoying their food. Maybe.
unless they didn't get a
Unless
steak
they
knife.
ordered a steak.
And then the next thing that happens is finally you catch someone's attention and you say, "Can I get a steak knife?" And of course the answer is always, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." Then they, without asking if anyone else needs anything, they go get your steak knife. And while they're gone, somebody else at the table says, "Oh, I needed, And then they come back, they give you the steak knife, and then the other person says, "Oh, I need a fork."
Yeah.
Because my fork got taken with my appetizer. And before you know it, your food is not hot. It's not the temperature. It's not the optimal temperature that you as the manager or owner want it to be. And all of a sudden, everything kind of starts to slide downhill because then it's not about the fork. It's not about the knife. It's about the quality then. So
Yes.
now it's become you didn't anticipate Therefore, the quality's bad. It took a long time for the server to finally get to everybody to get
That's
what
right.
they needed. So then the service is bad, right? And it's like,
And the whole time you went with your group to this establishment to enjoy each other.
yes.
And the whole time you're tracking down a knife, a fork, napkins, a plate, whatever it is, you didn't get to enjoy each other. You talked about the restaurant.
You talked about the restaurant.
Right.
In not such a good way.
Absolutely.
So what we're saying is if you're in the service industry, if you're in the retail industry, whatever industry you're in, there's a point where you can anticipate the next need, the next call, the next point of action, the next point of touch to make it better for your customer. And you can anticipate if you happen to pay attention to your staff, to your leaders, to just the people that are working in the establishment, you might be able to cut down some of the turnover because you're anticipating where they might want to go. And of course, if that doesn't work, you could always just ask.
There you go. There you go.
So I don't know. Do you have anything to add to that? I mean,
I think if you're really looking to take your business, your service, your team to the next level, that anticipating your guest, your customer, your team's needs is the edge that 95% of your competitors aren't looking for. So give yourself an edge. It doesn't sound too hard, but it's definitely not going to be easy. It's going to be, as you said, it's a journey. It's not a destination. It's a daily labor of love. You got to be at it every day. But if that gets you the result you're looking for, and not only drives home your result, but gives your team the result they're looking for, gives your guests their result they're looking for, it sounds like it's a proven strategy to get to where you need to be.
what's the word? Kikubari?
Kikubari.
Kikubari.
That might be wrong, but the message behind it is strong.
So take that message. Don't necessarily take our pronunciation, but take that message and I would say take it to the bank, but maybe that message will help you take it to the bank.
That's right. That's right.
So we've come to the end of our podcast, and as we're closing up, maybe just to give them a little nudge and
That's
how they
right.
can help us.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, please do us a favor. It'll cost you nothing. Follow, like, and share us. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at whoclosedlastnight_. You can look us up on Facebook at whoclosedlastnight. Make sure you follow. You can listen to us on Spotify, and you can do my most favorite. You can watch us on YouTube. You can see our faces. You can listen to our voices. And then if we spark some kind of passion inside you, you can share your story, your comments, whatever you want to share with us to our email address at whoclosedlastnightpod, P-O-D, @gmail.com. And we'd love to keep it a secret if you'd like, or share with our audience. Also, leave us a comment below. Tell us what we did well. Tell us what we did horrible. Give us your opinion. We'd love to share it on an upcoming episode. Thank you guys all for tuning in.
And if you want to be a guest or talk to us or have a topic that
That's
you
right.
might want to hear about, please reach out to us again. And so here we are. We're at that part of our podcast where we like to tell everybody goodbye, but we tend to do it from the islands. And that word is aloha.